In this lesson, we're going to explore a very popular effect and a popular tool to achieve that effect, the interactive transparency tool. Here's where you get to overlap objects and apply transparencies to create your own visual effects. We're going to do that right now using our interactive tools1.cdr file. So if you've been following along, you can flip over to page 7 just by clicking the page 7 tab. If you've skipped to this lesson, go to your lesson 11 folder of the exercise files if you've got them. Open up interactive tools1.cdr and click on the page 7 tab. You'll see what I see here. We've got several objects here that we're going to experiment with the interactive transparency tool. We're going to start with this star over here. So I'm going to click on the star. This is the one that we created using some interactive fill techniques. And we're going to apply some transparency. So that means going over to our interactive tools button, clicking it to see the flyout. And then we'll come down to the very last one here on the list, the interactive transparency tool. Now, as soon as I click on that, you can see my mouse pointer again has changed. This time it's got what looks like a wine glass next to it. And just like the other interactive tools, we click and drag. With our object already selected, we can click and drag from the left to the right, top to the bottom, diagonally, whatever you choose. I'm going to go from the left here, click and drag to the right, going right through the middle of my star. And when I let go, you can see the default transparency that's applied. I can actually see partially through the right-hand side, whereas over here on the left, where I see white in the color swatch, I've got no transparency. So I can adjust those. It's interactive. I can adjust the slider. So if I want more or less transparency, I can slide left or right. And of course, we've got our property bar. You can see the default up here is linear. So what we're seeing is a linear transparency type. And if I click this drop down, we could go uniform, where the entire object has a level of transparency applied to it. So it doesn't actually go from left to right, top to bottom. There's linear. There's also radial. When we were doing our interactive fill, we saw a lot of these options when filling an object with color, for example. Conical is one that we use, so I'm going to click on this one. And you can see I've got the same effect here if you were following along with the interactive fill with a slider. And I've got my two colors here. I can drag it in if I want to apply less, or drag it out to apply more. And once you've got the effect you're looking for, tilt that maybe, all you have to do now is go to your pick tool, deselect the object to see the end result. So is this truly transparent? Well, if I was to drag it down over here over my glasses, you can see it's in the background, so I'm going to move it to the front. And that means going up to my Arrange menu, going to the Order option, and I'm going to bring it right to the front of the page. Control Home on the keyboard would have done that as well. It's okay if it moves to another layer. We'll click OK. And now you can actually see as I move this over the glasses, I can see right through the star. So I've applied a transparency to this object. So let's try that with this object here. It looks like a rectangle with a fill, kind of looks like water. I'm going to go back to my interactive transparency tool, give it a click. If I want to choose an option ahead of time, I can. I'm going to go down to square. And now when I click and drag, you can see what happens. I'm dragging a square, and it looks like in behind there, if I move this, I've got some fish showing up. And I can adjust this. It's interactive, just like it was with the linear fill. And now I'll deselect by clicking my pick tool, clicking off the image, and that's totally different. Now, of course, I had those fish in the background already. You just couldn't see them without the transparency. So a totally different effect. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to click on the punch bowl here, right on this dark area. This is a piece of clip art that's been broken apart, so it's ungrouped. Clicking right on the darkest part of the punch bowl, I'm going to go up to my transparency tool. On the property bar, I'm going to change it to uniform. And when I click on uniform right away, there's a uniform transparency applied. I can see one of my fish got away and jumped into the punch bowl. And of course, from my property bar, I've got some options now. I can increase or decrease the transparency for effect. And you can see I've also got the ability to type in a value if I wanted to. If it had to be 35 exactly, 35, and enter, locks it in. I can still see slightly through that selected object. And I've also got this option here. From this drop down, I can choose the transparency target. Now, when I applied the uniform transparency, it's applied to the entire object. So that's why we see all up here. but you can see it could just be to the fill if there was an outline, or just to the outline of an object as well. You see when I choose outline, the fill portion is not transparent at all. So I want both of them. I'm going to choose all. That's the default I had in the first place. Go back to my pick tool, deselect to see the end result, and think of the possibilities using the transparency tool. The interactivity, of course, allows you to experiment and achieve the results you're looking for without having to go back and forth using trial and error. All right, there's one more to look at in the next lesson. There's actually a new feature involved in this next tool that allows us to mirror text. We're going to do it with some artistic text, but we're also going to mirror paragraph text, and we're going to do it interactively. That's in the next lesson.